In this video, I'm going to talk to you about how I've been able to generate over $100,000 from one income stream in my coaching/consulting business, and it takes me just 2 hours per month. I'm also going to talk to you about something that I've just started that will replicate this result to prove that it's not a one-hit wonder. And I want to pull some really important lessons out of this for you so that you can go and deploy them in your coaching or consulting business, because I think there's some big mistakes that people make around this concept. If this is your first time on the channel and you want to know how we help people grow their coaching consulting business using what I call the lifestyle consulting model, check out the main video on my channel. Breaks down everything about what I've done, how I help my clients, and my main program. Okay, so with that all said and that all out of the way, let's dive into this. I'm going to use as a reference here a post that I just put on Facebook, just because it succinctly covers what I want to talk through, but obviously we'll include more color in this one, right? So 2 hours per month equals six-figure income stream, right? So what I'm talking about here is a monthly digital newsletter that I run. It's called the Freedom Files, and it's $27 a month. You can go to myfreedomfiles.com if you want to check it out, right? And it's pretty simple. Every month I share a lesson, a strategy, a tactic that's either kind of backwards looking in terms of like stuff that I've done up until this point in my business, or I talk about what we're doing in real time, lessons, insights, experiments, etc. And it helps folks with growing their coaching business, but in a way that, as the name implies, creates more freedom in their life. Okay, right? And we're about 12 months into this thing. So I launched this about this time last year. And what's really cool, I was doing some math, is directly and indirectly, I'll explain what that means in a second. It's been responsible for over $100,000 in revenue. Okay, directly is like through the $27 a month payment. Indirectly is through people joining and buying something else, ascending up into another offer. Like I said, I'm also taking this concept further, and I've just launched a bit of a feeder offer for my inner circle, which is my main program. The details for that are in the video. And it's a combination of some self-paced courses that will be really valuable for the right person, and a 1-hour call with me to build the strategy. Okay. And the whole goal of this is to get people inner circle ready, get them to a certain revenue level such that they're ready to step up into the main room. Okay. And if you do the math on this, 1.9K, one per week is like $1,200 or whatever, short of 6 figures per year. Okay. And what's really cool is I'm getting paid to create future high-end clients, and most of my clients hang around with me for years. So that's like multiple 5 figures per client, right? And so I'm getting paid to create those clients. Okay. Now, as I put in the post here, I fully appreciate that this isn't the most leveraged way to do things. It's a bit of an experiment, but also the current phase that I'm in, I don't want to go and create another group program. I'll explain a little bit about that and kind of why in a second. So this is fine for me. An hour a week to add 6 figures a year, I'm good with it. Hourly rate checks out for me. Okay. Because I didn't want to go and make another group offer at this time. And so I'm okay with sacrificing a little bit of leverage in order to keep alignment. All right. So that's a new example, right? It's already really positive. Every time I mention it, it sells. And I'm very confident that this will also be a, 6-figure income stream with an hour a week in work, right? So 4 hours a month approximately. Okay, so here's just a couple of examples. We've got another program called the Fast Cash Rolodex. You can go to fastcashrolodex.com. Achieves a similar thing, right? I built that, took a week. It's got evergreen kind of cash on demand strategies for info marketers and coaches, and has fed me so many amazing clients that I've worked closely with for the long term. And there's a slightly deeper strategy there, because that is directly related to like generating quick cash. The acceleration of the relationship and the ascension happens so quickly. It's really cool to see it in action. Okay, so a couple of important notes and lessons here around this strategy, right? Because what we're really talking about here is like front end offers. Yeah. So my back end is my inner circle. My main offer, my flagship offer, if you will, is my inner circle. And we move people into that offer directly. Like we sell that. It's a market facing offer. So it's not a true back end in the sense of like, you got to buy one thing in order to ascend up. We sell it as long as it's a fit. If there's availability and we jive with the person, then we'll sell it directly. But people also ascend up via these other pathways. Okay. And so what's a really important lesson here is, and I've fallen into the trap where I've gone wrong with this, is that when you make these other front end type offers, you need to make sure that they're complementary and that they're not a distraction from your main offer. Okay. So if you've seen any of the other content on my channel, you know that I'm a big proponent of having one core flagship offer. Okay. And if you're going to go and create these other income streams, that's amazing, because obviously, it can be very lucrative, but you want to make sure that it's not distracting you from that main offer. Otherwise it can actually be counterproductive. So with all of these things, I'm thinking about them in terms of like, okay, great, I'm making a bit of extra money, but how do I do this in a way that feeds that main offer such that I'm essentially getting paid to create future income? right? Getting paid to create future clients. That's the way that you need to think about it, so that all of that energy is moving in one direction. Okay. Another way to kind of think about this, if you've seen any of my other videos where I talk about top, middle, bottom of funnel, top of funnel is your traffic, right? It's running an ad, it's having someone deploy an SOP to grow your audience, whatever. That's top of funnel. Middle of funnel is where the nurturing happens. Bottom of funnel is really the conversion into becoming a customer or a client, right? So middle of funnel is your longer form content. It's a podcast, it's a YouTube channel, it's longer form written content that really your target audience, it includes lingo that your target audience will understand. It builds that relationship. The goal in the middle of the funnel is to drive consumption, okay? And so a lot of what we talk about is free middle of funnel assets, like a YouTube channel, for example. But these are a slightly more advanced strategy, but these are just essentially the way I think about it anyways. These are like paid middle of funnel assets, where if someone pays $27 a month for a newsletter, they're going to spend time with me every month because they're going to download it, print it, read it, right? So it's about spending time together. It's about consumption. If someone joins this, they're going to spend time going through the self-paced courses. We're going to spend an hour together on the phone. So it's achieving the same thing as these middle of funnel assets. It's just that there's a price tag involved, which is good in that people are more likely to pay attention, but maybe not as good in that it's gated and therefore less people can see it. Right? So there's trade-offs, but fundamentally this concept works the same as a YouTube channel, as a podcast, or whatever, right? It's all about strengthening the relationship, spending time together, and getting people results in advance of joining your main program, such that they're likely to go, well, fuck, if this is this good, I better buy that main thing, right? And they can do that either through YouTube, a podcast, written content, stuff like this, or through paid offers, be they evergreen or kind of periodic campaigns. Right? Now, with that all said, it's important also that the offers stand on their own 2 feet. Okay. You can't just like create shit and you're like, here's one part, but you don't get the full picture unless you level up. That's like some old school internet marketing bullshit, and you don't want to play those games. The offer needs to stand on its own 2 feet, and it needs to be complete in a silo, in isolation, even if the goal is to ultimately move people up. Okay. Hopefully I've explained that clearly. So we're not moving away from this concept of having like one flagship offer, but we want these things in place to ultimately help feed that. And they're very similar to free middle of funnel assets. It's just that there's a payment involved, okay, for gated content or time or some combination of the two, right? But above all else, energy is still moving in one direction to build momentum. We ultimately then work together once they join the main program. So they might buy one of these things, ascend up, they join the main program, we get good results, and then I feed that back into my marketing, and that's how things kind of compound, all right? But the key here is when you experiment with this stuff, this is the key lesson that I want to get across, is you can create these awesome, really lucrative income streams. You can run a newsletter, you can run a masterclass, you can have a little front end offer like this, you can create a course, but just make sure you're thinking about it the right way. Make sure you're thinking about them like middle of funnel assets. Trust me, I've made this mistake. I've launched lots of different things and I didn't think about, okay, well, where does this sit in the grand scheme of things? And then, yeah, you might make a little bit of money, but it's ultimately a distraction from the main thing for like 3 weeks for you. And then you're like, oh fuck, I got to get back to the main thing. This is such a big lesson that I wish I learned when I started experimenting and doing campaigns and launches and all these different things. My energy was split. So if you're going to do this stuff, if this is appealing to you, if this is attractive to you, make sure that you're doing it in a way that's congruent and all that energy is moving in one direction. Make sure that it's complementary and congruent and not a distraction. Okay. So if you're going to experiment with this stuff, that is a really, really important lesson. Okay. Maybe you can relate to this. Maybe you've played around with front end offers and you felt that disconnect to the other main offer and you've struggled to ascend people up. Whenever now I create any other offer that's not in a circle, right? I'm thinking about, okay, how does this feed it? How does this align? How does this create me a future long-term client? Because that's the main point that I want to move people to, be it directly through content or via something else. All right, really, really, really important thing to understand that I don't think enough people talk about in the industry. So hopefully there's some good lessons in that for you. You can go check out these things individually if you want. You can DM me about this feeder offer if there's any interest in that. I'm only doing a couple a month because it does take my time, but I can get you in line for the next spot that opens up. But yeah, if you're going to do your front end offers, and you make sure you think about them like middle of funnel assets and make sure that it's all feeding your main offer. If you want more help with all this stuff, go check out that main video on the channel. That's me done for today. I'll talk to you all soon. So.